Welcome to day 4 of the Aquinas Challenge. Yesterday, we viewed Aquinas as a student, and a very studious one at that. We learned how he learned and discovered that not only does God teach us through our reason innately, but also externally through teachers, books, and even nature. Today, however, we will look at Aquinas as a teacher. Of course, in perhaps his most famous quote, he tells us that we are to first contemplate, then share the fruits of our contemplation. So, we can easily deduce that Aquinas' primary means of sharing the fruits of his contemplation was through teaching. But how do we do that? Not all of us are teachers, let alone professors at prestigious universities like Aquinas was during medieval times. How are we to evangelize in today's world? Aquinas tells us that there are 3 requirements to being a good evangelizer. He writes in his Summa Theologica, first, a man must possess the fullness of knowledge of divine things, so as to be capable of teaching others. Secondly, he must be able to confirm or prove what he says, otherwise his words would have no weight. And thirdly, he must be capable of fittingly presenting to his hearers what he knows. To recap, in order to evangelize or teach successfully, the evangelizer must have the fullness of knowledge of divine things, must be able to prove what he knows, and he must be able to present his knowledge skillfully. Now, if all has gone well up to this point in your Aquinas challenge, then day 4 should have provided you enough enlightenment to pursue the first 2 requirements I just mentioned. The third one, however, is the key to an effective evangelization. Again, Aquinas tells us that we must share the fruits of our contemplation, and we must therefore proclaim the truths that we have come to know as certainties in the way God has equipped us to do so. Aquinas did that through his teachings at the universities in medieval Europe, participating in public debates and writing almost incessantly both by his own quill and by dictating to 3 or 4 scribes who would take notes on a plethora of topics that he would deliver instantaneously through his speech. I think he would have benefited greatly from speech-to-text technology and blogging if he were alive today. And that, my friends, is our mission. We are to use the technology of today to evangelize. We are the first saints of the digital age, a remarkable moment in history in which we can extend the truths of the Catholic faith to places at a velocity that Aquinas could only dream of. On top of that, most of our communities are thriving as lifespans increase and work is abundant to garner wages for survival. We have countless hours of free time to delve deeper into the countless free resources available at our fingertips. Can you imagine what Aquinas would have been able to do with what we have? Cardinal Archbishop of Vienna, Christoph Schönborn, once said that Aquinas was the only saint to ever be canonized for merely thinking. I beg to differ. While his thoughts were certainly a necessary component to his ministry, it was his acts of preaching and writing that define his sanctity. Be like Aquinas. Learn your Catholic faith. Preach the gospel. Use technology when necessary.